Chapter 567. Threaten Black Zetsu to appear? This idea flashed through Madara's mind, and then he quickly ruled it out. He wants to take the lead in the next cooperation. Naturally, it is impossible to ask others for help. Moreover, although the current situation is slightly out of control, it is not to the point of being a last resort. After all, he has found his greatest advantage after advancing to the body of the six paths. He was very envious of Hashirama's healing ability, and now his vitality and recovery ability are above Hashirama's. Taking 2 heavy blows from the enemy didn't hurt him at all. But in the eyes of others, his performance was completely stubborn. "Uncle, can you wipe the blood off your mouth before you comment from a condescending position?" "What god?" "I think it's the god of being beaten." Madara's mouth twitched, and his eyes swept the crowd below. Just sand, not half as good as me. Thunder release, 10,000 thunderbolts. The purple-black thunder fell from the sky, like an aurora beam, covering the entire battlefield. Garashi reacted quickly, printed with both hands, and tapped gently in the void. Formation, time and space enchantment. A vast enchantment swayed in the sky, sucking in all the thunder falling from the sky, and then gathered together and fell from the top of Madara's head. Madara waved his staff and instantly retracted his power, and then looked at Garashi indifferently. "Is it worth wasting power to protect these ants?" Garashi chuckled softly. "Of course it's worth it. Hey, haven't you learned the lesson of Hashirama? Well, let me teach you how cruel war is." The wheel in Madara's right eye rotated rapidly. Big black coffin. Hundreds of huge black cubes appeared around him out of thin air and fell to the crowd at a very fast speed. Seeing this situation, a group of Kage and elite ninjas quickly reacted. "Is it similar to the Chibaku Tensei Jutsu? Break them, don't let them hinder Garashi-sama's battle." They knew that Madara's intention was to distract Garashi, and naturally rushed forward. However, when their ninjutsu fell on the black cube, everyone's face changed. The black cube was extremely hard, and the force that could crush meteorites fell on the black coffin only made it shake slightly. Moreover, the black cube seemed to have the ability to absorb chakra, and it was difficult for pure ninjutsu to work. Except for a few people who broke the black coffin, Minato and Tobarama transferred a few of them away. Seeing that the rest of the black coffin was about to fall, Garashi quickly, ice release, Mokpot Emma. The rapidly falling black cube was frozen in midair, and the crowd quickly escaped the area covered by the black coffin. Opportunity. Madara was excited and controlled the 8 truth-seeking balls to fly to Mizuki. Then, the 8 truth-seeking orbs turned into sharp spikes at the same time and stabbed at Shushi from all directions. Paper, soft. In front of Madara's shocked eyes, Shushi's body twisted in an irregular shape, changing shape like soft mud, and easily dodged the spikes. "You can do this?" Madara's eyes widened, and then he saw Garashi's whole body emitting a dazzling light. The blazing white light filled every corner around him, and it was so hot that Madara could only close his eyes subconsciously. Then, the familiar feeling of being beaten up acted on him. When the light dissipated, everyone squinted and looked around, and found that the huge pit on the ground had expanded a lot, and their awe for Garashi increased. "It's amazing, he can avoid it. And the blinding just now is so strong. If Garashi-sama wants to, we don't even have the qualification to open our eyes in front of him. Damn it, I can't look at him directly." Madara flew out of the pit, and his heart was extremely aggrieved. It was always the outsiders who were afraid of the Uchiha and did not dare to look directly into their eyes. How could he not dare to look directly into other people's eyes? Yes, Genjutsu. Madara's spirit was refreshed. He now has the strongest Genjutsu, Infinite Tsukimi. Although it is not the time to open it, the power of Genjutsu is absolutely beyond doubt. Thinking of this, Madara regained his confidence again and laughed wildly. "You are really strong, but unfortunately, I am immortal. No matter how many times you beat me, you can't really beat me. Next, it's time to show the real power of the Uchiha." Below, Naruto leaned over to Sasuke. Sasuke, do you Uchiha like to talk big? You're usually silent, pretending to be cold, but when it comes to fighting, you show your true colors. Sasuke couldn't help but scold. Shut up. Then, Naruto didn't speak. Surprised by Naruto's self-awareness, Sasuke turned his head and found that Naruto had fallen asleep. Naruto. Sasuke's pupils shrank slightly, and he suddenly felt a burst of sleepiness. His eyelids were almost unable to open. He barely glanced around with the corner of his eyes and found that everyone around him had fainted. Damn it, is this genjutsu of Madara? I didn't expect this guy's eyes to be so powerful that even with Manjiki Sharingan, I can barely resist it. Sasuke thought so, and suddenly a powerful soul wave swept through, and the genjutsu that troubled him was instantly broken. Then, Madara's incredulous voice came from the sky. Who the hell are you? Even your soul is so powerful? Just think of me as an ordinary passerby. Sure enough, it's Garashi-sama. Sasuke's heart was relaxed for a while, and then he was full of shock. Medical ninjutsu, 5 elements release, Fuinjutsu, Taijutsu, Kekkei Genkai, and the genjutsu that he just showed, there is such a perfect ninja in the world. Tobirama sighed. Compared with Senpai, Garashi-sama is more suitable for the title of the god of ninja. I have no problem with the second half of the sentence. Hashirama looked unhappy. But I can't pretend that I didn't hear the word senpai. Ordinary passerby. Madara's eyes twitched wildly. If ordinary passersby were as abnormal as you, the people behind the scenes would have been extinct long ago. But, how should I fight next? Madara was a little confused. He was suppressed in all aspects. Could it be that he could only fight with the other side? In the distance, Black Zetsu looked at this scene excitedly. Very good. If it goes on like this, Mother will soon be liberated. Aizen shook his head slightly. Otsutsuki Ichiki is unlikely to be so quiet and watch Mother unseal. Black Zetsu was a little worried. What should we do? Hurry up and give Madara the last stab? Don't worry, it's not a bad thing to come out later. Aizen comforted him. You just do as I say and prepare the best gift for Mother's release. Black Zetsu nodded heavily. I know. Chapter 568. With Garashi as the head, a group of Kage and Jonin as the waist, and the rest of the coalition forces as the tail, the attack formed by them was like an all-piercing through Madara's defense. For a while, the powerful Madara could only escape. It shouldn't be, what's the problem? Madara was puzzled. He could feel that the man had not yet entered the realm of God, but why was he, who had stepped into this realm, not a match for him? Hiding in the space mezzanine, Ikiashi narrowed his eyes. The people on this planet have developed a new path? He didn't see the scene of Garashi inoculating the people with curses. He thought that the senjutsu had become widespread. If you let those people know, this planet will definitely be on the extinction list. Why is Otsutsuki so powerful over the planets under his rule? Why is he not afraid of the spread of chakra giving birth to the power to overthrow them? The reason is that chakra alone is not a threat to them. Take the truth-seeking ball for example, no matter how many ninjutsu you have, you can't break the boundary of the truth-seeking ball. This is the essential gap. But this planet has developed a unique senjutsu that can have an effect on the truth-seeking ball. The most important thing is that it can be popularized by all the people, so its threat is too great. It's time to eliminate this threat. Outside. Madara was still stubborn. What can't destroy me will make me stronger. Wait, your death omen is already flickering. Garashi said while beating him. It's very powerful, but before you speak, can you stop the foam from the corner of your mouth? Madara was about to say something, but suddenly his pupils shrank. In his field of vision, a figure with a long horn on his head appeared behind Garashi. Tobirama and Minato also saw the enemy's movements. They didn't have time to think. They were ready to teleport behind Garashi to help him block the attack, but found that they couldn't teleport at all. Suddenly, a thought rose in their hearts. The space was frozen. One move skillfully summoned 4 shadows from the Tomb of Reincarnation space, and surrounded Garashi from the front, back, left, and right. 80 God Air Attack *5 to 400 God Air Attack. Although Garashi reacted in time and turned around, crossing his arms in front of his chest, how could a full-strength attack be so easily blocked? Even his main body had been seriously injured to the point of being paralyzed when he was ambushed. Needless to say, this doppelganger was even more so. Half of his body had been destroyed with a single blow. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the people below almost split open, and they madly charged into the sky. Despicable and shameless. How dare you launch a sneak attack? Damned bastard, I'm going to kill you. However, there seemed to be an invisible barrier in the sky, blocking all of them outside. Ishur did not care about the curses from the audience and said casually, as long as I can win, it doesn't matter what method I use. My tomb of samsara. Madara finally knew where he was lacking. That was his eyes. Although the man's strength was unbelievably strong, he had yet to step into the 6 paths domain and thus, he couldn't sense the existence of the Tomb of Reincarnation. He thought that the Tomb of Reincarnation was just an artifact, but he didn't expect that there would be such a strong freak in the world who hadn't stepped into the 6 paths domain. Damn it, I let this bastard use my eyes to steal the limelight. Madara thought unwillingly, and then he was shocked again. No, where is his flesh and blood? In his field of vision, the part of Garashi's body that was blown up had no blood flowing. In the sky, Garashi didn't care about his body that was constantly dissipating, but sighed deeply. You can defeat my doppelganger, very good strength. The smile on Ishur's face suddenly solidified. Doppelganger? Madara's eyes almost popped out, and he cursed in his heart. This bastard is just a doppelganger? Are you kidding me? I was almost defeated by a doppelganger? Even a doppelganger is so powerful, how strong is this guy's main body? Hearing Garashi's voice, the people of the Alliance who were originally sad and indignant were also stunned. Doppelganger? It's just a doppelganger. Is Garashi-sama's main body going to become a god? It's like a dream. Mizuki said, Garashi is a leader, and he has to deal with the affairs of a world, of course. It's impossible for him to come here with his main body. Wait, my main body is going to move out. After that, Garashi's body drifted away like a rain of light, leaving only a truth-seeking ball in place. It turned out to be the truth-seeking ball of the 6 paths. No wonder even I was fooled by him. Ishur suddenly realized, and his face immediately became gloomy. It seems that the slave seal on his forehead was just to lure me out. Humph, he even tricked me. The little devil of the 6 paths domain should be here soon. Suddenly, after Garashi's body dissipated, the truth-seeking ball that was left behind trembled slightly and flew into the distance. Ishur's figure flashed, and the next moment, he grabbed the truth-seeking ball in his hand. Bait should have the consciousness of being bait. You fished me out, and you want to take back the bait? Not so good. With that, Ishur swallowed the whole truth-seeking ball. His condition wasn't very good. After absorbing the power of this truth-seeking ball, his internal injuries instantly stabilized a lot. Ishur's eyes flashed. It turned out to be a permanent truth-seeking ball. No wonder the effect is so outstanding. The little devil of the 6 paths is really willing to spend a lot of money. On the side, Madara asked, since you're here, it means that the guy of the 6 paths is coming out, right? Ishur squinted his eyes. You know the 6 paths. It seems that you have gotten rid of the identity of a pawn. Pawn? You mean the guy Black Zetsu, right? Madara snorted, when the battle is over, I will repay your care. Ishur was stunned. Black Zetsu and Otsutsuki Kagaya are manipulating you. What does it have to do with me? The people below looked at the two talking, and their hearts were cold. Not to mention that the main body of the 6 paths domain will take some time to arrive. Even if he arrives, can he beat the two of them alone? After all, this new guy looks much more powerful than Madara. Just when everyone was anxious, Tobirama was keenly aware that Naruto and Sasuke's aura disappeared. What's going on? Tobirama was confused, and suddenly 3 figures appeared in the sky. Naruto with sharp eyes, Sasuke with a cold look, and the old man with a peaceful face in the middle of them. Naruto can float in the air like them. Tobirama's pupils suddenly shrank. He didn't remember when Naruto learned flying ninjutsu. And Sasuke, the pedal under his feet, seems to be the truth-seeking ball? Just when he was puzzled, Madara suddenly asked, "Are you the Six Paths Sage?" "My first, father." Chapter 569. Six Paths looked complicated. Yes, you are the reincarnation of Indra's chakra. Although Madara is just the reincarnation of Indra's chakra, in this world, chakra is sometimes more representative of a person's essence than the soul. At this moment, he is the chakra wandering in the world after death. Therefore, Six Paths didn't deny this concept. As for the other people on the battlefield, they were completely confused. Suddenly there is a powerful enemy. Why did Madara recognize his father on the spot? Also, if they heard correctly, Madara called him Sage of Six Paths, right? Hashirama and Tobirama were also confused. Isn't Madara's father Uchiha Taijima? Did the Uchiha clan leader accidentally put a hat on his head? After getting a positive answer, Madara asked again. "Are you here to stop me?" Six Paths nodded slightly. "I can't watch this world go to destruction." Madara couldn't help but laugh loudly, and his voice was full of sarcasm. "You didn't care about the years of war in the Warring States period. You didn't care about the 3 wars in the Ninja Village period. Now I want to eliminate war and pain, and you stand up." Six Paths said. "Because I'm not a person of this era. I'm just an observer. I have no right to interfere with your decisions." Madara asked coldly. "Then why are you standing up now?" Six Paths looked at Ichibi. "Because you were influenced by the evil existence and made a choice against your heart. I must correct this mistake." Ichibi pointed to himself with an innocent face. "Evil existence, you're not talking about me, are you?" Six Paths said solemnly. "This world is very big. If Ichibi-sama is willing to give up some crazy ideas, it's not impossible to accommodate 2 Otsutsuki." Ichibi smiled. "You know the nature of our clan. If you want me to give up, isn't that forcing the wolf to eat grass? Also, I'm not the one who induced his decision. I won't take responsibility for it." Six Paths sighed. "If that's the case, then I'll have to destroy you." Ichibi narrowed his eyes and glanced at Naruto and Sasuke, then laughed. "You actually gave your power to these 2 kids. Right now, you don't have the qualifications to boast in front of me." His power had grown, and the Six Paths' power had weakened. With this, it was not impossible for him to devour the Six Paths. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but sneer. "Concentrate on defeating me, and then stop Madara. This is the right choice." The Six Paths suddenly remembered the conversation he had with Garashi. Their enemy was not in the ninja world, but in the distant stars. Considering that Otsutsuki's visitors may secretly investigate, in order to avoid scaring the enemy away, he must create the illusion of perishing together with Ichiki. Therefore, it was necessary to divert a part of their strength. Of course, doing this was not without danger. In order to deceive the first move, his remaining strength naturally could not exceed the first move by too much. He couldn't say that, so Six Paths said, "If the world is destroyed, what's the point of defeating you? At the very least, before I defeat you, the fate of this world is in their hands." Hearing this, Ichibi laughed. Then I have to thank you. Thank you for handing over this world to me." Six Paths was unmoved. "Since you don't want to destroy this world now, then let's go to outer space to fight." Ichibi smiled. "Just right, I don't want to be surrounded by these monkeys." With that, the 2 flew into the deep space like rockets. After they left, Madara looked at Naruto and Sasuke indifferently. "I didn't expect that the 2 little bugs I ignored would become the biggest variable in this war." Sasuke said, "Then you have to be careful. If you don't pay attention, the bug may become a dragon. Then I'll crush it before it becomes a dragon." With that, Madara created a large number of black coffins out of thin air and threw them to the place where Sasuke was. Sasuke stepped on the truth-seeking Jade skateboard, as if flying on a sword, shuttled back and forth in a large group of black coffins. When he came in front of Madara, he used Curse Seal, Chidori Egi Spear. Naruto followed him and also used Senjutsu, Odama Rasengan. Madara naturally wouldn't stay in place stupidly, but as soon as he flew to the side, suddenly his eyes blurred, and he inexplicably returned to his original place. Then he was pierced by a spear, and then he was hit by a ball. Space ability? Madara stabilized in mid-air, holding his chest and asked. Sasuke said indifferently. Dojutsu, Heavenly Hand Power. Rinnegan's exclusive dojutsu? Madara was surprised and speechless. If his exclusive dojutsu is an advanced version of clone jutsu, then Sasuke's exclusive dojutsu is an advanced version of substitute jutsu. Another kid won't give him an advanced version of transformation jutsu, right? So strong, worthy of Sasuke. Naruto praised in his heart, and then used his own exclusive ninjutsu. Ha! Look at my harem jutsu. Among a group of beautiful naked girls, Naruto quietly went behind Madara and was ready to use the explosive tag to kill Madara. But before she could get close, she was kicked out by Madara. Naruto changed back to his original form and looked at Madara in shock. So strong, this iron will is much stronger than Sensei and Sensei Jiraiya. That's it? Madara smiled faintly. Which strong man can't resist this temptation? Sasuke narrowed his eyes and flew to Naruto's ear and whispered a few words. Huh? Is this okay? Try it, you're not afraid of losing face anyway. Well, Sasuke, get ready to attack. Naruto flew up firmly. Madara, look at my trick, reverse harem jutsu. Suddenly, dozens of nude Hashirama surrounded Madara and flirted with him. Madara's eyes widened instantly and shouted loudly. Disgusting, filthy, perverted. Having said that, he didn't seem to mean to look away at all. He looked critical. Seeing this situation, Sasuke seized the opportunity to use Susanoo, holding his Odachi and slashing down at Madara. Madara was slashed into the ground by this ferocious slash, and the ground cracked into a large rift valley that stretched for thousands of meters. Everyone in the coalition forces who had been sighing were shocked by this slash. Has Sasuke become so powerful? Although the previous heavenly hand technique and joint attack looked very powerful, it was not enough. This slash really made them realize the change. At this moment, the depths of the ground suddenly shook violently, and the aura inadvertently revealed made everyone's soul tremble faintly. What's going on? Is Madara angry? No, although this aura is very similar to his, there are some differences. Sasuke and Naruto, who were told the complete story by Rikudo, naturally understood what was going on, and their faces turned black. Is it because of shame and anger that Kagaya took over Madara's body? They haven't had time to seal Madara with the power of yin and yang. The two looked at each other. It's over, it seems that we accidentally played too much. From sealing Madara to sealing Kagaya, the difficulty coefficient increased exponentially. Chapter 570. Under everyone's puzzled gazes, a beautiful woman with indifferent eyes flew out from the ground. It was as if she viewed the common people as ants. Who is this woman? Why does she have chakra on her body? Could it be that Madara was affected by Naruto's jutsu and turned into a woman? Hiss. Does Naruto's jutsu have such a terrible effect? Hee, then isn't it enough to make Hashirama-sama strip naked? Hearing the obscenities below, Kagaya's delicate face exuded a burst of coldness. Rude, how dare you blaspheme me, damn it! Naruto and Sasuke both understood her horror. At this moment, seeing her like this, they quickly reminded her loudly. Be careful, quickly get away from her. Kagaya gently shook her hair, and the flying white hair behind her instantly turned into sharp thin needles and shot out. Rabbit hair needle. Needles rained down from the sky. Some people subconsciously used earth release to defend, but it didn't have any effect. No matter how hard the barrier was, it was as fragile as white paper in front of the thin needles. For a while, the people slightly closer to Kaguya were hit by the rabbit hair needles and died instantly. Seeing this, the family and friends of the deceased rushed up with red eyes. White-haired woman, go to hell. Kaguya's white fist hit the void on both sides, and the space shattered like a mirror. 80 gods air attack. The resulting shockwave shook the sky, tore the earth, and instantly crushed the ninja allied forces that rushed over into powder. Then, the shockwave swayed toward the allied forces that retreated to the back. Seeing the critical situation, Hashirama, who recovered some chakra, quickly summoned the 5 Rashomon, and the ninja allied forces quickly used Earth Release to strengthen the defense of the Rashomon. However, these gates that symbolized the entrance to hell collapsed at the moment of contact with the shockwave. The defense they set up together couldn't even delay for a second. Sasuke, fusion. Come in. Sasuke's complete body Susanoo stood in front of everyone, and Naruto blessed Susanoo with 6 paths power. 6 paths. Susanoo waved his sword and tore the shockwave that shook the sky. Seeing the storm finally subsided, everyone in the allied forces breathed a sigh of relief. Then, the tragic scene in front of them was like a basin of cold water, completely waking them up. Before, because of Garashi's protection, no one sacrificed in this final battle, so they forgot that war can kill people. Moreover, they also understood that this woman who looked beautiful and noble is more powerful than Madara. However, Hui frowned. My power is not complete, unlike the original spacetime. Although Madara here also absorbed the chakra tree at that time was far from its peak, and the recovered chakra was only a part of the shinobi world. Moreover, Madara didn't have time to use the chakra of the world of trees and didn't have time to recover all the chakra. If she was in her complete form, those 2 brats wouldn't have been able to block her attack. Hui looked at Mingzua and Mingzua, are you Yui's children? Naruto scratched his head. To be precise, it's chakra reincarnation. Hui sighed, looking at you all reminds me of my 2 sons. In the distance, Suigetsu was overjoyed and asked, if they recognize you as their mother, you don't have to fight? Kaguya's gentle face was suddenly covered with frost, because they are my sons, I want to kill them even more. 80 gods air attack. Seeing Kaguya's move again, Suigetsu quickly retreated and muttered, a menopausal woman can't be provoked. The war was about to start. On the mountain in the distance, Aizen didn't care about the earth-shattering battle in front of him. Instead, he looked up and watched the battle across the infinite distance. His gaze was not only focused on the Rikudo and Ichiki, but also deep into Ichiki's body. Ichiki's body was constantly absorbing and digesting the truth-seeking ball, and 3 eyes were trembling gently like a heart. 2 were Shirsue's eyes, and 1 was Uraji's golden Rinnegan, which was responsible for providing Shirsue's eyes with power. After watching for a while, Aizen withdrew his gaze. It's not enough, we have to wait until he's exhausted. Black Zetsu couldn't help but dance. Brother, mother is really too powerful, let's hurry up and help. Aizen said calmly, do you think mother's power can't deal with these fodder? Black Zetsu scratched his head awkwardly, that's not it. Aizen pointed to the sky, that's where the real threat lies. Black Zetsu thought for a moment, brother, you mean Rikudo? But isn't he fighting a great demon king? Aizen nodded, Rikudo is cunning and despicable, Ichiki is no match for him. These words touched Heiju's heart, and he nodded in agreement. Big brother, what should we do? Aizen's voice was calm, destroy his foundation. Foundation? Black Zetsu was puzzled, doesn't his power come from himself? Aizen said, yes, most of it is, but a small part of it comes from the underworld. The underworld? Black Zetsu's eyes widened, is it related to the Rikudo? Although he had lived for 1,000 years, his eyes had always been on the reincarnation of Asura Indra. Moreover, in order not to expose himself, he had never explored places that might be dangerous. The underworld was one of them. So he really didn't know about the connection between the underworld and the Rikudo. Aizen nodded, the Rinnegan controls the power of life and death. Reviving the dead isn't difficult, but the prerequisite is finding their soul. The Rikudo created the underworld after sealing Mother because of his regret in his youth. Black Zetsu wasn't interested in the Rikudo's regret. Fortunately, I didn't control the Edo Tensei. Otherwise, wouldn't I be sending myself to the Rikudo? Aizen continued, after 1,000 years, the underworld has accumulated an endless amount of soul power. If the Rikudo is allowed to use it freely, even Mother may not be his opponent. Black Zetsu became nervous. Then what do we do? Aizen twisted his fingers. When he obtains power from the underworld, chakra also establishes an inseparable connection with the underworld. What we need to do is tear the underworld apart at the critical moment. Black Zetsu was shocked. Tear the underworld apart? Aizen nodded. On one hand, we need to distract the Rikudo and create an opportunity for Mother. On the other hand, the torn soul can be used as a material to create the Hogyoku. Black Zetsu knew that the Hogyoku was a noble phantasm created by his brother to appease his mother's soul, but he still had some doubts. Brother, didn't you say that the Hogyoku needs to be purified after ascension? Aizen said calmly, this is to better stabilize the structure. The inner layer is the pure soul, and the outer layer is the ordinary soul. Is that so? Black Zetsu didn't think much of it. After all, he didn't know much about it. Chapter 571. After getting a reply, Black Jew asked, by the way, Big Brother, how do we tear the underworld apart? The world of the dead is for the dead to deal with. Aizen took out a scroll from his sleeve and spread it on the ground. Once the seal was removed, a large number of strange masks appeared on the scroll. Black Zetsu counted 26 of them. These are the Uzumaki's Reaper masks? Aizen nodded gently, his hands forming a series of seals. Summon, spirit bind. Suddenly, the sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling filled the air. It was daytime, but the atmosphere was like the underworld. Then, the terrifying shadows of the 26 Grim Reapers emerged from behind the masks. In order to summon back their intelligence, only 4 death gods succeeded. The rest of the masks were all shattered. But now, he didn't need them to keep their consciousness. He didn't need to worry about the masks breaking. Black Zu looked at these phantoms with fear and moved closer to his big brother. If the Reapers go on a rampage, I need to. No, I need to protect my brother as soon as possible. Black Zetsu thought. Then he saw his brother put a smelted mask in his hand. Suddenly, 26 pairs of cold, emotionless eyes stared at Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu was so scared that he almost threw the mask away. Brother, what is this? Aizen said, this mask is the key to controlling them. I will send you to the underworld. When you receive my orders, summon them and tear the underworld apart. Black Zetsu pondered for a moment and nodded. I know what to do. Aizen put his hands on his shoulders. The most important step to saving Mother is up to you. Black Zetsu was excited. No, it's up to us. You're right, it's up to us. After sending Black Zetsu to the underworld, Aizen continued to observe the battle. In just a few minutes, Ichiban and 6 paths had reached their limits. Many of the asteroids around them had been destroyed. Under normal circumstances, they had an endless supply of chakra. It wouldn't be a problem for them to fight for a month or 2. But the problem was that both of them were anxious. One was worried that the arrival of Garashi's real body would cause problems, while the 6 paths was worried about the battlefield below. He sensed that his mother had come out. Are you afraid of Hui? Even after 1,000 years, you still can't get rid of this fear. She really is an unqualified mother. Isha ridiculed. Although sound couldn't be transmitted in the universe, with their strength, it wasn't difficult for them to communicate telepathically. Naturally, First Form would not let go of this opportunity to attack the 6 Tao of Samsara and find a flaw in his mind. The dominator of 6 paths was unmoved. He pushed a small planet toward the First Form like a chess piece. Mother's strength does scare me. After all, she was a lower-level warrior who defeated a higher-level warrior. His face was as black as the bottom of a pot. No matter what the process was, this result was enough to make him permanently nailed to the pillar of shame of the Otsutsuki clan. Other than having some thoughts about the strangeness of this planet, he didn't want this humiliation to spread back to his clan. This was also one of the reasons why he didn't contact his clan. "You little rascal, you've really angered me." With a gloomy face, the first form flew straight to the sun and forcibly seized the nuclear energy released by the sun. The next moment, an incomparably huge ball of light formed between his raised hands. Has a brat like you, who lives in a corner, ever seen the vastness of the universe? The first form sealed the space around him and threw out the huge energy ball that was constantly expanding. "Today, I'll let you see how we use the energy of the universe. Ultimate energy cannon." He actually seized the power of the sun. No wonder he's a warrior from the Otsutsuki clan. The dominator of six paths sighed in his heart. When it came to the application of power, how could he compare with the Otsutsuki clan? However, it's not like I haven't made any progress. The dominator of six paths absorbed the natural energy in the universe, or in other words, the cosmic rays. The natural energy was already very violent. In the dominator of six paths view, the part of the natural energy that came from outer space was the relatively docile cosmic rays left behind after filtration. In other words, the complete cosmic rays were more violent than the natural energy. Even for the dominator of six paths, this was the first time he tried to absorb this energy. However, his realm was far beyond that of an ordinary immortal. The originally violent cosmic rays were as docile as sheep in his body. My current state, perhaps I should call it the cosmic sage mode? The dominator of six paths thought to himself as he released the Senjutsu chakra in the form of a technique. It was as bright as a nebula. Cosmic sage mode, nebula storm. The energy cannon collided with the storm. It was as if the sky and earth were being split apart. The surrounding space and time were distorted, and the floating meteorites were instantly turned into cosmic dust. He actually blocked my attack. How troublesome. The first form frowned and thought about how to deal with the dominator of six paths next. However, at this moment, an extremely powerful surge of I-power exploded within his body. Ah! This is... With the cover of the big explosion, even the dominator of six paths did not notice the abnormality of the first form. When the storm subsided, the first form's struggling eyes returned to normal. I didn't expect that I would fail again, and this time at the hands of Kagaya's son. You didn't lose to me, you lost to the world. As he spoke, the six paths of heaven first form threw out a ball of essence, chi, and spirit, Tao. The first form did not resist and just looked at him quietly. I will watch your fall in the future. Soon, the sealed truth-seeking ball returned to the dominator of six paths. The dominator of six paths had some doubts about the first form's cooperation with the seal, but he soon understood. He guessed that Otsutsuki's family might send someone to look for him, so he didn't want to fight to the death with me. Just as well, I'm waiting for their arrival. Thinking of this, the dominator of six paths rubbed the truth-seeking ball in his hand and thought to himself, although this seal is not as stable as Chibaku Tensei, it should not be a problem to seal it for more than 10 years. He did not use the seal of six paths, Chibaku Tensei. On one hand, the additional moon may have a certain impact on the surface ecology. On the other hand, he had to be careful of the future guests of Otsutsuki. It was better to carry the first form's sealed artifact with him. The seal of six paths, Chibaku Tensei, was too big to carry around. No matter what, this hidden danger has been temporarily resolved. The dominator of six paths sighed and looked down. Next, I will ask Mother to go back to sleep. Chapter 572. Without Black Zetsu's reminder, Kagaya didn't think of separating Naruto and Naruto with the six major spaces in Heaven's defense. Instead, she kept attacking. At this moment, Sasuke and Naruto also noticed that Kagaya was countless times stronger than Madara in terms of attributes. But in terms of combat awareness, she was countless times weaker than Madara. She was completely at the level of a ninja school student, and a first-grade primary school student. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances and made a decision. Kagaya, watch my children and grandchildren's techniques. Naruto shouted, and instantly transformed into dozens of enchanting naked Rikudo. In terms of appearance alone, Rikudo, who was old enough to be Kagaya's grandfather, coquettishly called out, "Mother, mother, mother-sama." Rikudo, who had just finished the battle in the sky, almost pulled his beard off when he saw this scene. But the effect was remarkable. Kagaya, who had flaws in her mind, felt that her mind was polluted after seeing these things, and her rationality value went crazy. Taking advantage of the moment when Kagaya's mind was affected, Sasuke quickly moved forward, and at the same time, used heavenly hand power to exchange the position of Naruto's body with a kunai. Then, the two of them pressed their hands imprinted with the power of yin and yang onto Huiye's body. Kagaya's body trembled slightly, and she finally recovered from the state of absent-mindedness. "I failed again, but why didn't he come to me, he?" Sasuke keenly captured the key information. "Who are you talking about?" However, Kagaya had been sealed in the expanding meteorite and could no longer answer his question. Naruto put his hands on his hips and laughed wildly, "Ahahaha. Who dares to say that my seduction technique is useless? I saved the world by seduction technique." Sasuke temporarily put away his doubts and looked at Naruto with dissatisfaction. "Are you laughing like me?" Naruto gave him a thumbs up. "It's really cool to laugh like this, Sasuke. Am I sympathetic to you?" Sasuke's mouth twitched. "Idiot. The war is over, who wants to strengthen the tacit understanding with you?" With that, the two flew to the battlefield below. Raikage still couldn't believe it, that woman was sealed. Naruto nodded vigorously. "She won't come out again." Hearing this, everyone in the alliance cheered loudly and cried tears of joy. "Great, we've finally defeated the enemy. Naruto, Sasuke, you are the heroes who saved the world." Amidst the cheers, Inoki reminded them, "Don't be happy too early. That immortal is still fighting with the enemy." As soon as he finished speaking, the 6 paths appeared in front of everyone. "Don't worry, I've already sealed the first move." This time, everyone really forgot themselves and cheered. In this sea of cheers, Hashirama walked to Madara, who was lying on the ground. While Kagaya was sealed, Madara, as her vessel, was expelled. As the Jubi's Jinchuriki, he will not live long after the Jubi is taken away. "Hashirama, are you here to mock me?" Hashirama sighed. "Madara, you are too strong. We are all dead. Do you want to see who is better?" Madara was dissatisfied. "If it weren't for that crazy woman, I could have defeated you." Hashirama shook his head slightly. "As the Jubi's Jinchuriki, you were taken away by others. It proves that you fell into their calculations long ago. You lost." Madara was stunned and sighed. "You're right. If I had insisted and got my eyes back, maybe it wouldn't have ended like this." He was originally summoned as the Edo Tensei. At this moment, his soul gradually left his body, flashing with the light of the soul. "I didn't expect that my brother would become a hero who saved the world." Looking at Sasuke, Itachi looked complicated. "If I could face your potential and find a way to buy time instead of using such drastic means, maybe it would be a different scene now." Fugaku also sighed. "I always compare you with Itachi. I think you are not as good as Itachi and can't carry the burden of Uchiha, but now it seems that I'm shallow." Sasuke laughed at himself. "Hero? My dream when I was a child was never to be a hero. I just wanted to be you, to be the pride of Uchiha." Mikoto encouraged him. "Sasuke, you are now the last member of Uchiha. The important task of giving birth to Uchiha is handed over to you. You must have 20 children." Sasuke was speechless. In front of Naruto, Minato put his hands on his shoulders. "I'm sorry, Naruto. I'm not a qualified father. Not only did I not shelter you from the wind and rain, but I also let you bear the pressure that you shouldn't bear at your age." Naruto grinned. "I used to complain about you, but now, I'm proud of you, Dad." "Thank you, Naruto." Minato rubbed Naruto's head, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly. "The Fuyuki family asked Sasuke to have 20 children. I don't ask for much in this regard. 5 is enough." Naruto touched his stomach blankly. Can I have a boy? Kato smiled and waved at Tsunade. Tsunade, this time I really won't see you again. Tsunade smiled and wiped her tears. You bastard, can't you wait for me for a few more years on the road to the underworld? Kato shook his head. If you came early, I wouldn't know you. Jiraiya looked at them with jealousy in the distance. It's obviously a story of 3 people, but he can't have a name. In a burst of laughter, almost all the Edo Tensei's faces were filled with happy smiles. After their last wish was fulfilled, a white beam of light shrouded them. It was like an aurora light beam connecting heaven and earth. It was spectacular. On the other side, Rikudo separated the Jubi again. 9 cute big-tailed beasts sat in a row and divided the fruit. After dividing the fruit, Shikaku was dissatisfied. Old man Rikudo, why is my chakra the least? The other tailed beasts also followed. There must be something wrong with the way you divide the chakra. Why does a fox like Kurama have more chakra than all of us combined? Kurama argued. Strength needs a strong heart to control it. If I give you strength, can you control it? Besides, even if it was me, wasn't I also locked up in a cage and became a spiritual beast for someone? The tailed beasts were still unconvinced, but after listening to Kurama's words, they gave up. Indeed, the more chakra you have, the easier it is to be targeted. Boring. Seeing that they solved the conflict by themselves, Rikudo wiped his sweat with a guilty conscience. Kurama is right. That's it. I'll go first, Aizen, who was watching this scene from a distant mountain peak, said indifferently. Sorry, I'm going to tear this warm scene apart. Chapter 573. In the underworld, Black Zetsu, who was hiding, pretended to be a ghost. At this moment, he didn't know that his beloved mother had been sealed again. Just as he was waiting carefully, Aizen's voice sounded in his mind. Start. Is it going to start? Black Zetsu summoned the 26 Shinigami. Shinigami ABCD. Z, kill him. In the human world. 6 Paths, who was about to run away, suddenly groaned. His body made of chakra faded a lot. Obviously, he was injured. Kurama and the other tailed beasts couldn't believe their eyes. This was 6 Paths, who could hurt Otsutsuki when he was sealed. The Pure Land. 6 Paths didn't care about his injury. He frowned and was about to escape into the underworld. But at the instant he entered the netherworld, the sealed truth-seeking jade suddenly exploded, and it erupted with an extremely powerful might. This might caused his heart to palpitate incessantly, and he felt as if he was close to death. There was no time to think. 6 Paths immediately used the truth-seeking ball to defend himself. However, the attack was too fierce, and the distance was too close. Even 6 Paths' defense was blown in half. This sudden change shocked everyone who was celebrating. Why did the 6 Paths immortals suddenly split open? Madara, Ichiki, and Kagaya were all defeated. Was there another enemy? The souls who were about to ascend were also stunned. What was going on? The Pure Land was sealed and isolated. They couldn't go back. Although his body was blown in half, 6 Paths didn't care. He looked at Ichiki in disbelief. Are you crazy? You burned your origin? Although the strength of the truth-seeking ball's seal was not as strong as Chibaku Tensei, it was definitely not easy to break. Ichiki burned his life origin to break the seal. But when he broke the seal, he was dead. This was what 6 Paths couldn't understand. For Otsutsuki, whose life was almost infinite, there was hope as long as he didn't die. A temporary victory or defeat didn't mean anything. Moreover, he didn't think that Ichiki would be so unyielding. If Ichiki was so irritable, he wouldn't have lived until now. Ichiki's eyes were crazy. All of this is to make Otsutsuki great again. No, his consciousness is being controlled by someone. Seeing the madness in Ishire's eyes, 6 Paths felt fear for the first time since his mother was sealed away. Otsutsuki's first style was silently controlled by someone. That was the superior warrior of the Otsutsuki clan, the existence at the top of the food chain in the endless starry sky. Who could control him? Moreover, the person who controlled the first style forced him to self-destruct. This world was too crazy. In fact, Aizen felt it was a pity. If it wasn't for the fact that he had no other choice, he wouldn't want to abandon such a powerful puppet that was completely obedient to him. But the level of Kodowa Tsukumi of Shursui was too low. Even with Pu Shi's golden Rinnegan to strengthen his eyes, and the premise of eating his own eyes and being weakened to the extreme, this kind of rewriting thinking could only last for a period of time. Therefore, he had no choice but to take advantage of this period of time to unleash his remaining heat. At this moment, the samsara was temporarily sealed in the gap between the modern realm and the underworld, and the modern realm was in chaos. What's going on? Where is the enemy? Grandpa Rikudo, what's wrong with you? In this chaotic and panicked situation, Aizen slowly walked down from the sky. He gently flicked his sleeves, and the souls that were suddenly stuck on the way to the sky all flew towards him uncontrollably. What's wrong? Who's sucking my soul? Although Aizen didn't express his attitude and position, in this sensitive period, his actions were very revealing. Therefore, the alliance was active again. This guy looks ordinary, he doesn't look like a powerful character. Who cares who he is? We even defeated Madara and Kagaya. One more enemy doesn't make a difference. However, Mizuki shouted. Wait, don't do anything. Everyone looked at him subconsciously and saw that Mizuki, who was always calm and steady, was sweating at this moment, nervously looking at the sky. Of course, he was nervous. In addition to the unpredictable ability of the other party, it was also because of the bordered soil speculation. Suspected to be Garashi from a parallel world, just this sentence was enough to show the horror of the other party. Seeing Mizuki so nervous and scared, Tsunade asked. Is he strong? Mizuki recalled the situation of the other party playing with the whole ninja world, and said with a dignified face, he's more evil than Madara, more terrifying existence. I suspect that the predicament of the six paths Sennin was caused by him. Everyone couldn't believe it. In the past, Madara was the ceiling of the ninja world, not to mention that he became the Jinchuriki of the Jubi, but today, the villain who jumped out, how can a person be more powerful than him? Isn't it too exaggerated? Moreover, the other party is different from Madara, Kagaya, and Ichiki, who have horns on their heads. Obviously, he has the style of an ordinary human. While they were exchanging information, Madara, who turned into a soul, roared. A mere speck of sand dares to play with my soul? Among the souls that flew to Aizen, Madara was undoubtedly the most powerful one. Although he became the Jubi's Jinchuriki for only 3 days, his soul has undergone essential changes. Under his leadership, a series of powerful souls such as Hashirama, Nagato, and Jiraiya broke free from the unknown suction. Don't try to control us. We have broken free from the shackles of the Edo Tensei, and we are freer than anyone else. The power of a group of souls converged and erupted with unparalleled power. Even the space of the world was faintly distorted and folded. Seeing this, everyone in the alliance was excited. So powerful, worthy of the names of the souls in the history of the ninja world. He underestimated the power of ninja. It seems that we don't need to do anything. However, Mizuki's eyes were dignified. It's impossible to succeed, this man has the terrible ability to play with the world. In the sky, Aizen commented with interest. Goodwill, but unfortunately, a pure soul is useless. It's okay to deal with ordinary people, but it's useless against me. As soon as he finished speaking, an extremely powerful soul force spread out in all directions with him as the center. The souls that were originally powerful fainted as if they were electrocuted, and then they were attracted by Aizen. Madara's powerful soul only lasted a few seconds longer than the others before he lost consciousness. As if he had just completed a trivial matter, Aizen ignored the stunned alliance and calmly summoned Ichiki. Now, give me all your power. Chapter 574. Yes, I will give my soul and the Jubi. Ichibi said fanatically. Aizen's eyes flashed. What did you say, Jubi? Ichibi said without hesitation. Yes, I control the second Jubi. Aizen's eyes narrowed slightly. He originally planned to use Ichibi's soul as the core, Madara, and the other ascended souls as the inner layer, and the part of the soul torn from the underworld as the outer layer to create a three-layered structure of the Hogyoku. But when Ichibi mentioned the second Jubi, his mind became active again. Can I make the Jubi a part of the Hogyoku? But he quickly denied this conjecture. The Hogyoku was created to be a transit station for him to further cultivate the divine system, to prevent the soul from being contaminated. To be precise, it was to let the Hogyoku filter out the power that may contaminate his soul. In this way, the Hogyoku must be pure. It's not a simple superposition of power, the Jubi and the Hogyoku are not in the same system. However, it would be a waste to give up the Jubi, yes, the origin of my body. Aizen was shocked, and he quickly thought of the use of the Jubi, to replace the core of his body. His body was built with the chakra of the nine-tailed beasts as the core and the Ryumayaku chakra as the outer layer. In the early stage, it was okay, but as the enemies he faced became stronger and stronger, the role of this body became smaller and smaller, and most of the time, it was not as good as the enemy. Although he looked very strong now, his real strength was not as good as Ichibi and Rikudo. Of course, this refers to their peak state. And now, it was the best time for him to upgrade the hardware of his body. Thinking of this, Aizen was not in a hurry to let Ichibi kill himself. Go and bring me the Jubi. Yes. Ichibi directly opened the portal and strode in. They didn't deliberately hide their conversation, so when they saw Ichibi leave, everyone in the alliance was very anxious. It's not easy to seal the Geto Mazo on the moon. Why is there another Jubi? Does he want to become the Jubi's Jinchuriki? This guy is already so strong when he's not even a Jubi's Jinchuriki. When he completes his transformation, who else in this world can be his opponent? In the sky, Black Mud jumped onto Aizen's sleeve and praised, "Brother, you're amazing. You can even control an existence like Ichiki." Although he already knew that his mother had been sealed again, he wasn't worried. With the 6 paths sealed and the one style controlled, who else in this world could be their opponent? He was invincible. Aizen took the initiative to explain. I asked you to negotiate with Ichii. When he secretly searched your memories, he was already infected by me. The reason he said this was to prevent the 6 paths of samsara from associating the Kodo Amatsukami with his own body. Although the 6 Daos had fallen into his trap, he would never believe that the 6 Daos had no power to fight back. The main body's purpose was to attack Aizen at a critical moment, so that the 6 paths wouldn't fight him to the death. Heiju didn't think too much about it. He just asked, "Big brother, when are we going to save Mother?" Mother? The 6 paths, who was stuck between life and death, couldn't help but think, their mother's backup. No wonder they can control Ichiki. Before Aizen could answer, the allied army had already surrounded them. They knew that the enemy was strong, but no matter how strong he was, he couldn't be stronger than Kaguya. Defeating so many strong enemies gave them a lot of confidence. Even if they were facing an unknown enemy, they were still confident. Curse, Chidori. Curse, Millennium Kill. The allied army attacked Aizen together, but as soon as their attacks landed on him, he turned into a shadow and reappeared in another place. They continued to chase, and Aizen continued to run. In the blink of an eye, they had run through the entire battlefield. Damn it, do you only know how to hide? Raikage cursed. Hide. Aizen's laughter came from behind them. I haven't moved since the beginning of the battle. Hearing this, the allied army subconsciously looked back and saw Aizen standing in the same place as if he was watching a show. How is that possible? Don't be fooled by him. He must have sneaked back and pretended that he didn't move to put pressure on us. But at this moment, a voice full of fear sounded. No, look around. Why is everyone down? Hearing this voice, everyone quickly looked around. The allied army was densely lying on the ground. The soldiers of the Alliance army who had fallen to the ground looked at them with confusion and fear in their eyes. Don't come over. Don't hit us, we'll be stupid. Reikage pointed at himself in disbelief. You said I was hitting you? Yunan's ninja smiled bitterly. Everyone is under his genjutsu. Reikage muttered to himself. In other words, we've been fighting with our own people? Gaara took a deep breath. Then what he said is true, he didn't move from the beginning of the battle. The allied army looked at Aizen again, but this time, their eyes were different from before. They were full of fear. However, they were the strongest in the shinobi world, and naturally, they wouldn't be afraid of a genjutsu. Everyone, be careful, be alert. Two people in a group, disrupt the chakra in time. This was a common method to deal with genjutsu. Hearing their discussion, the allied army was even more afraid. No. This is the 10th time. Please don't try again. Inoki's eyes widened. What did you say? The 10th time? A rock Crypsis ninja said in fear. All of your cognition, senses, and consciousness are under his control, you can't win. At this time, Gaara suddenly asked. Is it possible that your cognition has been modified? In his perception, only a short period of time has passed, far less than 10 battles. Our cognition has been modified? The rock Crypsis ninja froze for a moment and then shouted crazily. I don't know anything, don't ask me. Seeing this situation, everyone's heart was covered with a layer of haze. Mizuki's voice was dry. I said it's useless. He's different from Otsutsuki, who only knows how to suppress people with strength. He's a devil who plays with people's hearts and souls. Numbers mean nothing to him. Everyone calmed down and thought about it. Indeed, the opponent is completely different from Otsutsuki. Just like the truth-seeking ball mastered by Madara, it's absolute suppression of ninjutsu. But once they start to use senjutsu, the battle will evolve into a competition of strength, defense, vitality, and other attributes between the two sides. And this man's genjutsu has completely exceeded the definition of genjutsu in the shinobi world. It's a completely unknown field. At this time, Sasuke sneered. A mere genjutsu, is it worth it for you to be so afraid? Hearing his voice, everyone's heart ignited with hope. The one who is least afraid of genjutsu is undoubtedly Sasuke, who has awakened Rinnegan. Looking at everyone's expression, Sasuke smiled proudly. I'll be back soon. With that said, he used his dojutsu to the extreme, used Susanoo, and walked out with his odachi in hand. Then, under everyone's expectant eyes, he turned and swung his odachi at Naruto. Seeing this, everyone couldn't help but cover their faces in despair. It's over. Chapter 575. Sasuke, wake up. It's over, even Sasuke is confused by genjutsu. Just as everyone was complaining, Karen suddenly asked, is it only Sasuke who saw the truth, and we are the ones who fell into genjutsu? Although everyone instinctively felt that Karen was trying to excuse Sasuke, it wasn't impossible. After all, Sasuke was the one with the strongest resistance to genjutsu, so it was reasonable for them to be confused. Gaara sighed, even if Sasuke didn't fall into genjutsu, what can we do? Go up and help him fight? Everyone's morale instantly plummeted. Indeed, for such an invincible enemy, the truth didn't matter. Even if they knew that Sasuke was fighting with the enemy, they didn't dare to intervene. Now that they saw the enemy, it was hard to say who would be the one fighting later. It seems that the best way for us now is to stay in place. Reikage's face was very ugly. As long as we don't move, he can't do anything to us. Naive. Mizuki sneered, do you think he's only good at genjutsu? He used genjutsu because it's the easiest way. Then why didn't he? Reikage quickly woke up and asked with a gloomy face, you mean, he could have defeated us long ago, and now he's just playing with us? Do you finally understand? Mizuki sighed, he never put us in his eyes, but we should be glad that he didn't put us in his eyes. Otherwise, we would have died long ago. Hearing this, everyone felt even more humiliated, but at the same time, they couldn't help but feel much more relaxed. Although Madara and Kagaya were strong, they at least knew how to defeat the enemy, and their efforts could be seen. But this man in front of them, they didn't know what to do at all, and every time he attacked, he would accurately hit his teammates. In this case, they didn't even have the morale to fight. Huh, you're just. Huh. Naruto, why are you lying on the ground? Hearing Sasuke's voice, everyone sighed, and their mentality became more and more relaxed, feeling a sense of self-abandonment. At this time, a dark door opened in the void. Ichikushi walked out of the door and arrived in front of Aizen. He dug out the Byakugan on the left. The Jubi is sealed in this eye. Although Aizen didn't like Otsutsuki's behavior, he still took the eye and said in the tone of a big capitalist. Very good, next, give me your soul. Without any hesitation, he threw his soul into Aizen's nebula. With the ascended souls as planets and the remaining souls as meteorites and star fragments, all of them began to revolve around the star. It was like a real galaxy, with a deep and mysterious charm. However, everyone knew how dangerous it was to be under this charm. This man actually used a technique in the souls of a group of strong warriors to refine a relic. Damn it, Dad, Jiraiya, Sensei. Naruto's eyes were red and he wanted to rush up. Gaara quickly held him down. Calm down. We are no match for him. Don't provoke him. Kakashi also tried to dissuade her. Are you sure it's him? Naruto clenched his fists and finally bowed his head weakly. I'm not sure. In this silent atmosphere, a woman with a light blue paper flower on her head suddenly flapped her wings and flew towards Aizen. Aizen smiled and asked. Conan, what's the matter? Conan looked like he wanted to say something, but he couldn't help but ask. Uncle, what will happen to their souls? Aizen smiled. They will disappear and become part of the Hogyoku. Disappear? Conan couldn't help but ask. Isn't that too cruel? Unlike Conan of this time and space, she didn't experience so much pain. She still retained the original kindness in her heart. Naturally, she was sensitive to such things. Not to mention, among those souls was Nagato Yahiko's soul. Cruel, how can it be? Aizen smiled and shook his head. I have always been very tolerant of the living, just like them. Aizen pointed to the ninja allied forces, then continued. However, the dead are different. They blur the line between life and death. They will only disturb the peace of this world, just like this shinobi world war. Instead of letting such an unbalanced group continue to exist, it's better to let them become my strength and bring hope to the world of the living. Conan was stunned for a moment, then he asked with expectation. Can you let go of Nagato and Yahiko alone? Although they aren't the Nagato and Yahiko I know, I still hope that traces of their existence can remain in this world. Aizen took off his glasses helplessly. Really? Do I have to say it so clearly? You are just a chess piece in my hand, a chess piece that has lost its value. How can I change my plan for you? Conan's pupils trembled as he shook his head frantically. It's not like this, uncle, you are not such a person. I understand, you must have a reason that you can't explain, but you don't want me to get involved. Is that why you deliberately said this? Looking at her frightened eyes, Aizen didn't have the slightest intention to soften his heart. Sorry, I am no longer interested in playing games with you. From today on, I will stand in the sky. Seeing that she wanted to say something, Black Zetsu laughed. Stupid, do you think that a noble existence like Big Brother will sincerely communicate with lower creatures like you? You are the same. Black Zetsu's arrogant laughter froze on his face as he stuttered. Big Brother, what are you talking about? Aizen picked up Black Zetsu and smiled gently. You are just a chess piece that I used to erode the first style. The first style's mission has been completed, and you have no value. Black Zetsu shook his body in disbelief. Impossible, Big Brother, did you forget that we have to save Mother? It's true that people don't want to wake up from their dreams, but this is stupid. Aizen shook his head slightly and released him. Black Zetsu, who was casually thrown away, fell to the ground like a salted fish that had lost its dream. He muttered to himself. Impossible, impossible. If it was any other time, they might have gloated over his misfortune, but now, there was only fear and despair in their hearts. This man wasn't only strong, but his heart was as hard as iron. There was almost no flaw in him. Chapter 576. What will he do next? Is he going to kill us? Damn it, is there really no other way? The Alliance members were filled with righteous indignation. They wanted to fight to the death, but when they thought of the possibility of losing the lives of their allies, their morale quickly plummeted. I can't stay silent anymore. Six Paths, who was stuck between the underworld and the human world, sighed. His eyes became resolute when he saw Aizen's terrifying aura. I'll think about the future, at least I can't lose the present. He'd originally intended to preserve his strength for the future calamity, but under such circumstances, he couldn't continue hesitating. Just as he was about to burn the underworld's power, a voice sounded in his mind. Six Paths Sama, please be patient, I'm coming to save you. It's Garashi, his main body is here. Six Paths' spirit rose and suppressed his thoughts. Then I'll have to trouble you. It was only then that the palpitations in Shushi's heart gradually disappeared. He thought to himself, he really does have the strength to take me down with him. Fortunately, I now have a certain understanding of the space-time ability, so I can predict this danger in advance. Looks like I have to have a good fight in front of them to dispel their dangerous thoughts. Thinking of this, Garashi flew faster and appeared on the battlefield like a meteor. You're finally willing to come out, Aizen. I should be the one saying that, Shimizu. Seeing Garashi's arrival, the Alliance members were excited. Great, Garashi, Sama is here. Wait, is this that guy's illusion again? Idiot, does he need to go through so much trouble to deal with us? Garashi was already familiar with this kind of double act. He said in a deep voice, if you want to lure me here, you've succeeded. Oh, in order to create a fair battle illusion, I spent a lot of effort. Aizen smiled and pointed at the Ninja Alliance below. It's difficult to control the strength of an ant without crushing it. Hearing this, the Alliance members' faces turned ugly. Damn it, what does this guy think we are? Such an arrogant tone, I really want to punch him in the face. Garashi took a deep breath. In that case, let's not waste everyone's time, let's have a good fight. Saying this, Shushi turned into a light track and flew towards Aizen. He punched Aizen's body and broke him into pieces. Before anyone could celebrate, Aizen's broken body was pieced back together. He looked at Garashi with horror and said, I was almost killed by you. Shushi's expression was calm. Don't pretend. You wouldn't be so slow to react. You deliberately let me kill you once just to let my guard down. Seriously, can't you be like those idiots and be played by me? Aizen sighed and waved his right hand. Countless swords appeared around him and shot towards Shushi like arrows. Garashi was too lazy to make hand seals. He waved his hand and used light release, Yasakani no Magatama. Countless light beams flew out of his hand and shot towards the flying swords. The space between the two instantly exploded, and almost all the flying swords were broken. However, after the swords were destroyed, they instantly recovered, just like how Aizen came back from the dead, they could be reborn again and again. Seeing this, everyone in the Alliance army was dumbfounded. What the hell is going on? Is it an illusion again? That's not right. Lord Shushi did say that he killed him once. And what kind of ninjutsu are these flying swords, sword release? At this time, Sasuke said in a deep voice. It's Izanagi. Izanagi? Sasuke explained with a dignified face, the Uchiha clan used a perfect genjutsu that can reverse illusion and reality at the cost of permanent blindness in one eye. Gaara understood and asked in shock. You mean, he turned death into a dream, and then turned the flying swords in the dream into reality? Naruto hurriedly asked. But he doesn't seem to be an Uchiha. And he didn't lose his sight. Don't you understand? Sasuke took a deep breath. The Uchiha clan used a perfect genjutsu at the cost of one eye. In his hands, it's probably similar to the Sans Jutsu. Everyone was shocked. It was unreasonable to think that he could use a genjutsu that could rewrite reality. Even Rikudo was shocked. If Kekkei Tensei is the most comprehensive ability of all attributes, then his understanding of genjutsu is probably the most specialized in Intun. Seeing everyone's reaction, Aizen thought to himself. After all, it's impossible to fight a real life and death battle with the main body. I can only make it more beautiful and deceive them with jutsu beyond their knowledge. As for whether Rikudo would see through it or not, he wasn't worried. Rikudo wasn't omniscient and omnipotent. It was impossible for him to know about the jutsu he developed. At the very least, even if the six Dao had seen through him, he could only choose to remain silent. After all, he was putting on an act to leave peacefully. Exposing the truth would only make things worse. Thinking of this, Aizen smiled and removed the flying swords that were besieging Garashi. With a snap of his fingers, tens of thousands of shadows suddenly surrounded Garashi. Since the flying swords won't work, let's try my ninja allied forces jutsu. Seeing that the enemy even copied them, the allied forces widened their eyes in disbelief. Is this a lie? Did he summon an entire army by himself? No wonder he said that he was just playing with us. With his ability, he can make us fall into a bitter battle with just a thought. Maybe these phantoms are just for show. They don't know our ninjutsu at all. However, the ninjutsu used by the fake ninja allied forces broke their last hope. They used all their ninjutsu. Especially the beam of light that was shot at Garashi. Inoki's pupils shrank. He even copied my dust release. How did he do it? Kakashi smiled bitterly. He is much more suitable for the title of ninja plagiarist than I am. Facing the siege of 80,000 allied forces, Garashi first released his spiritual pressure, and the weaker phantoms burst like bubbles. Then, he turned into light and shuttled back and forth in the crowd. In just a few breaths, the massive pirate ninja alliance was completely annihilated. Seeing this, the allied forces didn't know whether to be happy or sad. They were happy because they saw the hope of victory, and sad because the entire shinobi world was like a toy in their eyes. They could either copy or destroy. Is the ninja allied forces so shameless? Chapter 577. Aizen did not react much to the destruction of the pirate ninja alliance. Instead, he looked at them with interest. Sure enough, these ninjas are useless. Next, try my space fleet. Countless giant steel ships floated in the air, their surfaces glowing with a cold light. They looked like giant beasts from the stars. The next moment, these giant beasts opened their mouths and fired countless cannonballs and light beams at Garashi. Some of the light beams inadvertently swept across the ground, instantly turning mountains into dust and forming deep canyons on the ground. The Alliance army hurriedly fled for their lives. It felt like the end of the world had arrived. What are these things? They're so scary. Could it be that he imagined it out of thin air? Is this the power of alien technology? How did he know? Rikudo muttered. It's because of Otsutsuki's memories. In the midst of this terrible baptism of fire, Shushi took the brunt of the attack and met it head-on. With one punch, he blew up the battleship. The other battleships quickly turned their cannons and aimed at him. However, these attacks, which were powerful enough to shatter mountains and tear the earth apart, only made him sway slightly when they landed on him. Everyone's eyes twitched when they saw this. What was Garashi-sama's body made of? It was too hard, wasn't it? He was a real man made of steel. I should be able to take on the Hashiman now. Garashi evaluated in his heart as he destroyed the surrounding battleships. But as soon as he destroyed the space fleet, more than a dozen giant mechas appeared out of thin air. Gundam, Monster, Ultraman, one by one, Aizen summoned creatures from his imagination to fight for him. Seeing this, the Alliance army was numb. Once upon a time, they thought that their imagination was limited by poverty. But now, they realized that they had no imagination at all. After tearing Godzilla apart once more, Rinsei stopped in midair and looked at the galaxy in Aizen's hand. Even you can't use such a powerful ability without limit. Is it because of your noble phantasm that you're able to do so? Is it because of your noble phantasm? Also, you seem to be using me to destroy the remnant will. Have you finally discovered it? Aizen smiled. Just like the clothes you buy, it's best to wash them first. Thank you for polishing this Hogyoku. As expected of a man who has schemed against two worlds. Garashi praised him sincerely, and then changed the topic in the midst of the exclamation of, "I'm so awesome. However, I've never had the habit of working for free. As a reward for my efforts, you can give me half of the Hogyoku you mentioned." Aizen smiled, "Then I'm the opposite. I don't have the habit of paying labor. If you want to maliciously ask for a salary, then I'll make you work until you die. The light of the sun will not tolerate such dark things." Shushi was like the sun, radiating endless light and heat. It was so dazzling that everyone could not open their eyes. Solar Fist. Everyone's eyes were closed, and only a few perceptive ninjas could sense that there were two incomparably powerful chakra clashing with each other in the sea of light in the sky. Are you trying to seal my vision? Unfortunately, this trick won't work on me. Aizen pretended to explain in the sky. Of course, I know that sealing your vision won't work on you, but this trick is more than that. Garashi also explained the battle between the two. The sea of light in the sky suddenly boiled, and each beam of light turned into a clone of Garashi, and in an instant, he punched Aizen hundreds of thousands of times. In terms of physical strength, Aizen was naturally far inferior to the main body, but Garashi cooperated very well, turning the main attacks into aftershocks that slid to the ground. Less than 1/10 of the power actually fell on Aizen's body. The two cooperated seamlessly, and with the light pollution, no one could see any clues. Even the six paths couldn't see clearly because they were in the gap between the two worlds. Amazing, they can go so far on the path outside of chakra. If they can absorb the Jubi, they might be even stronger than me at my peak. Although the two were fighting thousands of meters high in the sky, the aftershocks were enough to collapse the ground. The land that was previously ravaged by Madara and Kagaya was once again ravaged. The original plains and hills were now ravaged into cliffs and canyons. It was extremely dangerous. The Allied forces were panicking, squinting their eyes and running around. They didn't even have the mood to watch the battle. How long will they fight? The end of the world? The end of the world? It's already the end of the world. Seeing that the acting was almost done, Garashi took back the sea of light, and after another violent collision, both of them were sent flying. Garashi said in a deep voice, "Your taijutsu is indeed powerful, but it's still not as good as mine." Aizen smiled helplessly, "There's no other way, there's no sword in this world that can bear my power. But, I still have this," Aizen said as he lifted the Hogyoku and prepared to absorb its power. But just as he was about to swallow it, a few fluorescent lights flickered, and his body stiffened for a moment. Garashi took the opportunity to grab the Hogyoku. Although Aizen reacted quickly and broke free from the influence, it was too late to protect the Hogyoku, so he decisively grabbed it and crushed it. In front of everyone's shocked eyes, the two each took half of the Hogyoku. Garashi chuckled softly, "It seems that I have succeeded in maliciously asking for a payday." Aizen didn't get angry, but he asked thoughtfully, "While I was scheming against you, you were also scheming against me?" Garashi shook his head slightly and took the initiative to explain. The truth-seeking ball that Otsutsuki ate contained Shirsue's eyes. Shirsue's eyes couldn't have affected him, but you used my hand to polish the remnant will in the Hogyoku, giving me a chance to use Shirsue's eyes. Success or failure is also a result of one move. Aizen pretended to sigh a few times, and his figure gradually faded. "This time I lost, but I will soon get it back from you in that world." After saying that, his figure completely disappeared. It seems that the six paths didn't see through my performance. Garashi muttered in his heart and flew down. Seeing that the battle was over, the Allied forces almost cried with joy. It's finally over. Is the war finally over? But some people were still afraid, first bordered Soil and Madara, then Ichikushi and Kagaya, and finally Aizen, there shouldn't be any more enemies, right? If one more comes, I will kill myself on the spot. It's no wonder that they were so scared. These villains were too terrifying, coming out one after another, and their strength was more terrifying than the previous one. In the past, they thought that the 5 great ninja villages were the protagonists of the world, but now it seems that they can't even be regarded as supporting roles. Just like the role they played in this war, at most, they were just onlookers. Chapter 578. Seeing Garashi flying towards them, Naruto greeted him happily. "Brother Garashi, great, you defeated that arrogant man." However, Garashi shook his head slightly. "At first, I thought I won this game for the time being, but now I have some doubts." "Doubts?" Naruto asked, tilting his head. Garashi pondered. With his ability, there's no reason for him to fail at the last step. With that said, Garashi looked at the half of the Hogyoku in his hand. Perhaps he did all this on purpose. Then why did he do this? Naruto looked at him blankly. He spent so much effort, and in the end, he sent half of the fruit to you. Isn't there something wrong with his brain? At this time, Sasuke suddenly said, "Just like Orochimaru trained me before, that man may also want to eat the sweetest fruit at the most appropriate time." Naruto said thoughtfully, "Oh, it turns out that he took a fancy to Garashi brother's Mokuton, and wanted brother to grow fruits for him." Sasuke almost stumbled and fell. "Idiot, I mean he wants to wait for Garashi-sama to digest the essence of the half of the Hogyoku before seizing Garashi-sama's power." Naruto said aggrievedly, "Why don't you just say seizing power? Why do you have to guess riddles?" Sasuke was too lazy to pay attention to him, and turned to look at the half of the Hogyoku in Garashi's hand. "This noble phantasm contains extremely powerful power. I guess it's difficult for him to digest it alone, and the only one who is qualified to share this power for him is you, Garashi-sama. That's why he spent so much effort to lure you out." Shushi nodded in agreement. "This is very much like his plan. It's too despicable and insidious, he even schemed against himself." Naruto exclaimed, "Otherwise, Garashi-sama, you can directly destroy this noble phantasm. By the way, can Dad's soul be restored?" Garashi shook his head. "It's already irreversible. As for destroying it, I don't intend to do that." Naruto was worried. "But if you don't destroy it, that guy will keep staring at you, right?" Someone asked worriedly. "That guy called Aizen escaped. What if he comes back?" Garashi comforted her. "Don't worry. If I'm not wrong, he won't bother you anymore." Really?" Garashi did not answer directly. Instead, he turned to talk about other things. The disaster of this world is not over yet. As they revealed before, Ichiki and Kagaya come from a planet called Otsutsuki. The people on this planet enjoy eating chakra. As long as this threat is not resolved, the sword hanging over our heads will not disappear. Hearing this, everyone felt their vision darken. What? Are there many more monsters like them? It's over. This world is hopeless. Don't be depressed. Garashi encouraged them. Didn't you defeat Ichiki and Kagaya? Moreover, I came to this world to help you resist the disaster. When they calmed down a little, Garashi continued. Although his approach is different, I suspect that the man called Aizen has the same idea of saving the world as I do. Hearing this, everyone couldn't believe it. How is that possible? That man almost killed us. Moreover, he refined the souls of so many people. He also abandoned his loyal subordinates. Such a person doesn't look like a good person, right? Being a good person and saving the world don't conflict. Garashi sighed. I also had some guesses after getting this half of the Hogyoku. If my idea is to unite all forces to fight against Otsutsuki, then he wants to use the power to fight against the enemy alone. Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard this. Fight against Otsutsuki alone? There's such a madman? It does seem a bit like that. Didn't he say that he has always been tolerant of the living? Except for Otsutsuki's Ichiki, He doesn't seem to have killed anyone. Hearing these discussions, Conan, who was sitting in the distance, suddenly had hope. Is it because Uncle wants to save the world? Garashi continued. As for why I said that he probably won't bother you, it's because there's no power in this world that's worthy of his scheme. Everyone was a little depressed. Are they really so worthless in the eyes of Aizen? With that said, Garashi looked at Naruto. This is why I don't intend to destroy this half of the Hogyoku. If I fail in the final battle, I'll let him absorb my power to protect the world. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but respect him. Even if he was defeated and died, he was willing to be a stepping stone to protect the world. What a noble spirit. Naruto pursed his lips. No wonder he said that instead of letting the souls that disturb the balance of the world exist, it's better to let those souls become his power and bring hope to the world of the living. If it's for the survival of the world, father should be willing to sacrifice his soul. After saying the word filial piety, Naruto clenched his fist again. However, I hope that it's Garashi, Dage, who uses this power to save the world. So, brother Garashi, Dage, you must win. Garashi was silent for a moment. I will win and save the world. Oh, I'm sorry to trouble you. Suddenly, Rikudo's figure appeared and thanked Garashi. After repeatedly confirming that Rikudo wasn't being sarcastic, Garashi smiled slightly. I'm just doing what I should do. Rikudo's eyes were filled with admiration. He grabbed Black Zetsu, who hadn't come out of his salted fish state. Since he recognized that person as his big brother, he must know a lot about that person. Do you want to capture him and interrogate him? Garashi decisively refused. No, with that man's caution, he must know what the other party wants him to know. With that said, Garashi looked at Conan, who was in a daze in the distance. Do you want to go back with me? Me? Conan looked at him with some uneasiness. You're not going to capture me? Garashi smiled. Since I promised Nagato that I won't deliberately target you, naturally, I won't go back on my words. Also, it looks like you've been bewitched by Aizen. Uncle didn't bewitch us. Conan blurted out, but he still didn't change his words. Uncle must have said that for the safety of the world. Is Aizen's charm that great? Garashi chuckled in his heart. If it was his main body who said those words, at least 80% of Woodleaf would follow him like Conan. Let's go back. Chapter 579. Stepping out of the dragon veins of Lulan, the stars changed, and the world changed. When he opened his eyes again, the scenery was completely different. Conan looked disappointed as he followed behind Garashi with his head down. When he heard Mizuki's exclamation, he raised his head. Mizuki looked around in surprise. The Lulan in front of him was completely different from the bleak Lulan when they left. There were high-rise buildings everywhere, and there were even long trains flashing through the sky. It was a prosperous scene. Didn't Lulan emigrate to Woodleaf during the war? How could it be here? Garashi sighed. The flow of time between the two worlds is different. We only spent more than a month there, but here, 8 years have passed. And in these 8 years, too many changes have happened. 8 years. Mizuki's eyebrows were a little blank, and he had a feeling of being derailed from the world. 8 years. Shao Nan had a panoramic view of the surrounding scenery and was extremely shocked. To develop a small border country to such an extent, let alone 8 years, even 80 years would be difficult to achieve, right? What happened in the past few years? Garashi said as he walked, although the changes in Lulan are not small, compared with Woodleaf, it is far worse. As the political center of the alliance, Woodleaf's development can be said to be changing with each passing day. As far as I know, those people in the scientific research department are already discussing going to the moon, and they intend to make the moon our second world. Hearing Garashi's words, both of them were shocked, and inexplicably felt like country people entering the city. They are starting to study going to the moon? I remember that it was not easy to climb the mountain before. Mizuki said with emotion. Conan's expression was complicated. is this the change brought by the unification? Yes. Garashi nodded. This is the advantage brought by the establishment of the Ninja Alliance. The level of science and technology in the ninja world was not low, but it was relatively serious. After his vigorous rectification and support, and after he put forward the slogan of equal emphasis on science and ninjutsu, the entire ninja world's scientific and technological level developed rapidly. As for ninjutsu, it didn't stagnate because of the development of science and technology. On the contrary, because of various scientific theories and methods, ninjas can more deeply analyze the essence of chakra and ninjutsu. In the past, only one bloodline limit could be born every few decades or centuries. However, in the past 8 years, many new bloodline limits had appeared. Conan sighed, your vision is indeed more profound than ours. Yahiko Nagato's loss is not unjustified. Garashi smiled. He had never seen them as opponents. Let's go back to Woodleaf. Alliance, Rakich's office. Rakich was sweating profusely while doing one-finger push-ups in the gravity training chamber. Dotai looked at him worriedly and said, Rakich-sama, if you can't hold on, come out first. Rakich let out a sigh of relief. No, I can still hold on. How is it? Is the leader back? Dotai shook his head, not yet. However, before the leader left, he said that the flow of time in the two worlds is different. A week has passed here, but the leader may have only passed a few hours there. After a pause, Dotai continued, besides, with the leader's current strength, who can hurt him? Rakich-sama, you don't have to worry at all. Even if I have to worry, I'm worried about his enemies. I complained, I'm thinking, how long will it take for him to come back? How much time do we have to prepare? Dotai was silent. How can I know? Forget it, I know it's useless to ask you. I sighed, although it's already the 8th year, he proposed the next leader at the meeting before he left, which still caught me off guard. Dotai admired, he can let go of this kind of power just like that, he's worthy of being the leader. I nodded, the only person in this world who can make me admire is him. After a sigh, Dotai asked, Rakich-sama, how sure are you about the election? I pondered for a moment. Among the 10 elders, the 5 small ninja villages put forward. Among the 5, Anoki is old and weak. What qualifications does he have to compete with me? Raza is just a bootlicker, skip him. Empress Shomiai is a woman, but because she's the only woman among the 10 elders, most of the women in the alliance will vote for her, which is troublesome. As for Namikaze Minato, he's my real enemy in this election. After all, he took over the position of Naruto from the leader. Dotai nodded, I heard that in the casino, 50% of the people bet on Naruto-sama, 30% on Rakich-sama, and 20% on Mizukichi-sama. What? I was shocked and angry, and he was accidentally pressed to the ground by gravity, and then he struggled to raise his head. The people who think Namikaze Minato can win are more than me? He felt good about himself before, thinking that he and Namikaze Minato had a 40% chance, and he had 60%. Dotai tactfully reminded, in the case of not having much to do with oneself, people will prioritize the better-looking one. A's face was gloomy, what do you mean? Is that Namikaze Minato more popular than me? Dotai was speechless, Rakich-sama, where did you get the courage to ask this question? Except for Yunan's style of muscle men, in the eyes of the other ninja villages, Namikaze Minato is 10 times better than you. As if he understood Dotai's thoughts, A asked angrily, is there no way to make them ignore the superficial appearance and see through the essence of me and him? Dotai was silent for a moment, if you want to increase the support, it's not impossible. A's spirit was lifted, what way? Say it. Dotai said, ninjas always rely on strength to speak. As long as Rakich-sama can defeat him in front of everyone, everyone will naturally choose to support you. I hesitated, but what excuse should I use to fight him? Besides, he has the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, I can't stop him. Dotai laughed, use the arena to limit the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, as for the excuse, say that it's the world's first ninja conference. As long as Reikage-sama can win the title of the world's first ninja, everyone will naturally vote for you in the election. The world's first. I was eager to try, but immediately he was a little hesitant. The idea is good. But isn't the title of the world's first too ostentatious? If I win the title, what will the leader be? Tai looked at him with a strange look. Do you still need to think about it? Of course, the leader will stand in the sky. A's mouth twitched. He didn't expect this conference to have the effect of flattery. Seeing that he didn't reply for a long time, Tai asked, can't I do it? A said decisively, I'll bring it up in the next meeting. Chapter 580. Woodleaf. Naruto and Sasuke walked side by side. Did you hear? Neji and Tama got married. Naruto whispered. Sasuke was shocked. What? He's only 15, no, 16 years old, right? Naruto smiled. According to him, this is in response to Sensei's policy to encourage childbirth. Sensei's policy is naturally not wrong. Sasuke was in awe. Yeah. Naruto nodded again and again. If it weren't for Sensei's population statistics, I wouldn't have known that the shinobi world is so small. In the Fourth Shinobi World War, the 5 major ninja countries and the country of Steel only organized more than 80,000 troops. Even if 1 in 100 people is a ninja, the whole world has no more than 10 million people. It's not enough to describe the sparse population. But, when did Neji hook up with Tama? Is he trying to live off her? Sasuke wondered. It shouldn't be, right? Naruto defended Neji. He's a member of the Hyuga clan. How can he live off a rich woman? Sasuke waved his hand. He's a branch family with no inheritance rights. How much property can he get? I've always been a bit curious. Taijutsu is very expensive. If you don't take various medicinal baths and medicinal meals to nourish your body, you may leave hidden injuries in your body. But Neji doesn't seem to have any hidden injuries. Now that I think about it, maybe he sold his body to get money from Tama. Humph, what a shame. Hearing Sasuke's words, Naruto swallowed hard and hid the gold card that Hinata gave him on his birthday deeper. Naruto, why aren't you talking? Seeing that Naruto didn't respond for a long time, Sasuke asked. Naruto suddenly pointed to the sky. Look, there's a flying car. Sasuke looked up and saw an advanced flying car in the sky at an extremely fast speed. Humph. These racers are getting more and more outrageous. With that said, a pair of wings appeared behind Sasuke. With a flap of his wings, he appeared on the road in front of the flying car in a blink of an eye. After the flying car was forced to stop, a kid dressed in non-mainstream clothes poked his head out of the window. Which bastard? It's brother Sasuke. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Woodleaf Manamaru, I won't talk about your speeding. Where's your driver's license? Woodleaf Maru laughed. How can I get a driver's license at my age? So you still know that you're not old enough. Sasuke looked unkind. Go to the police station and turn yourself in. I won't, Sasuke Gidge, you're not a traffic policeman. Woodleaf Manamaru shouted. Sasuke didn't even lift his eyelids. I'm a jonin, and I'm qualified to supervise all illegal activities. Woodleaf Maru was depressed for a moment. He pursed his lips and said, fine, I'll go. Anyway, I have the protection law for minors. If anyone is to be punished, it should be my parents. The corner of Sasuke's mouth rose. It has been amended. The current minor protection law only protects the injured minors, not the minors who break the law. Woodleaf Maru immediately wailed, it's over. Sasuke ignored him and flapped his wings to fly down. Manjikyu Sharingan's ability is so convenient. Naruto's eyes were full of envy. Do you think it's easy to compress the Susanoo's body and summon the wings? Sasuke rolled his eyes and touched his eyes with some palpitations. 3 years ago, after knowing that the man with kidney deficiency was his future self, he decisively asked Sensei to do stimulating training for him. After instilling part of Sasuke's memory, his manjikyu did open, but that memory still made him feel some pain and fear. At the same time, he also understood what the future would be like without Sensei, and he was more grateful to Garashi in his heart. It doesn't seem easy. Naruto nodded thoughtfully and said with concern. I heard that if you use your ability too much, your eyes will go blind. It used to be like this. Sasuke rubbed his chin. But it's different now. I just need to go to Do-senpai's place and use Sensei's chakra to warm my eyes. As expected of Sensei. Naruto praised and asked. I heard that Do-senpai is assisting Orochimaru, Sama in researching humanoid hematopoietic genkai. I wonder if it's successful. Humanoid hematopoietic genkai. Sasuke smiled bitterly. If they really study it, the pride of our Kekkei genkai will be completely trampled under their feet. I think it's good. Naruto nodded. If Kekkei genkai can be freely chosen, Niji's child won't have to worry about the caged bird seal anymore. Garashi's house. Asuma circled around Shuei-mu and touched him up and down. He clicked his tongue in wonder and said, such smooth and delicate skin. No wonder you're 8 years younger than us. I really envy you, little brother Shuei-mu. Mizuki's face darkened. I'll release all snakes to bite you. I can understand young people's arrogance. Asuma smirked. Who told you to be 8 years younger than us? Seeing that Mizuki was really going to get angry, Rin quickly stood up and said, Mizuki-senpai, tell us what you saw in that world. Mizuki suppressed his anger and said calmly, I did see a lot of things in that world. Their final battle was even more intense than the Fourth Shinobi World War we experienced at that time. For example, the legendary Rikudo Sennin who created the world, Rikudo Sennin's mother, and Rikudo Sennin's mother superior, everyone who was originally calm couldn't believe it. I know about Rikudo Sennin, but what the hell is his mother and his mother superior? What the hell happened in that time and space? The Great Myth War? Mizuki continued, it's almost the same as the Great Myth War. For example, Rikudo Sennin and his mother superior went to outer space to fight. Even so, the entire shinobi world was almost broken by them. Everyone moved a small bench and sat beside him, exclaiming as if they were listening to a play. Not far away, Minato looked at Garashi and asked, is that time and space really so dangerous? Garashi nodded, just like Otsutsuki 3 years ago, we have been targeted, and there is no way out. Minato smiled bitterly, in such a difficult situation, you still have to take the lead. Only your prestige can allow the alliance to continue moving at high speed. Garashi smiled and shook his head, about the election, how sure are you about it? Seeing that Garashi avoided talking about it, Minato naturally understood what he meant and couldn't help but sigh, not much. Shinakushina on the side narrowed her eyes, and a dangerous light flashed in her eyes. But how come I heard that you are very popular among the women, and many people call you the friend of women? Minato looked strange, you are wrong, in fact, Garashi is the most popular, but Garashi didn't participate in the election, so they took a step back and looked at me. Chapter 581. At the same time, on the moon. Behind the space gate connecting the shinobi world and the moon, a sneaky figure was sneaking carefully while muttering, after the disbandment of the Akatsuki, this is the first time Aizen has gathered us. I didn't expect the gathering to be on the moon, what a big deal. With that said, he felt a sense of pride in his heart. He also heard about the Ninja Alliance's plan to land on the moon. He was shocked before, but he didn't expect that the Alliance's power had already reached the moon. Even the alliance that gathered the entire shinobi world was one step behind in landing on the moon, which shows how strong the alliance is. And this time, Aizen's gathering made him have a hunch that the huge force hidden under the iceberg is finally coming to the surface. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but be excited, it seems that I won't have to hide anymore. Just as he was excited, he suddenly caught a glimpse of 2 figures in front of him. It's them. Raiga was overjoyed and hurriedly rushed forward, Sasori, Kisame, you are also here. Sasori turned around and saw Raiga with some doubts in his heart. With Aizen's power, why did he gather this guy? To make up the number of people, or to liven up the atmosphere? However, he didn't say it out loud, he just nodded calmly, "It's me." Seeing Sasori just nodding, Raiga wasn't annoyed. Besides him, there were few normal people in the Akatsuki, so this kind of reaction was normal. Kisame smiled and said, "Raiga-senpai, long time no see." Raiga nodded with emotion, "Yeah, I didn't expect that the remnants of the Akatsuki would meet again one day." Akatsuki? Kisame and Sasori's eyes suddenly became strange. Raiga was confused, "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" Sasori said indifferently, "It seems that you really don't know that this is a gathering of the Akatsuki." Akatsuki? Raiga's eyes were blank, he felt wronged. "Ha, Sasori-senpai, don't tease Raiga-senpai." Kisame laughed, "Since Raiga-senpai is here, it means that Aizen-sama has accepted him. Besides, this is actually the first gathering of the Akatsuki after so many years." Hearing Kisame's explanation, Raiga relaxed a lot, "So this is also your first time here?" After that, he quickly asked, "Do you know why Aizen-sama called us this time? Is the organization going to make a big move?" "I don't know, but..." Sasori pondered for a moment. Lord Aizen might have just returned from a parallel world. It's not strange for him to make a big move. Parallel world. The two of them recalled the scene from 8 years ago. They were curious. What did Sir Aizen experience in that world? At this moment, a few puppets flew down from the sky. "Are you Sir Aizen's guests?" Scorpion nodded. "It's us." The leader said, "Welcome, everyone. Please follow me to the castle." Leah approached Scorpion and whispered, "Why do they look so similar to the living puppets you created?" Scorpion looked at him calmly. "Because they are the original form of living puppets." After saying that, he ignored Leah and followed the puppet. This guy was introduced to the Akatsuki by Aizen-sama. Could it be that Hollow already existed at that time? Raiga didn't dare to think about it anymore and hurriedly followed. Before long, the three of them arrived in front of a castle. Sensing their presence, the owner of the castle came out to greet them. "Welcome, everyone. I am Otsutsuki Kirito." Seeing this person, the three of them were shocked. Byakugan, there is no caged bird seal on his forehead, and he looks familiar. Is he the one who stopped Shimizu Garashi during the 5 Kages tournament? Kirito knew what they were thinking. He didn't explain and just smiled. "Please follow me." The three of them seemed to be stunned as they followed behind him without saying a word. When they reached the second floor and were about to enter the room that he led them to, Leah could not help but ask, "What's your ranking in the organization?" Kisame and Sasori gave him a thumbs up in their hearts and pricked up their ears. Kirito smiled. 3rd to 10th is possible. After all, I'm not good at fighting. You're not good at fighting? How can you stop Shimizu Garashi? I don't believe you. The three of them who didn't know the truth complained in their hearts. Raiga smiled. Then who is 1st and 2nd? The 1st is naturally Sir Aizen. As for the 2nd, it's me. A confident voice came from behind them. The three of them looked back and saw a 17 or 18-year-old boy standing behind them. His eyes were as bright as the sun. They were particularly eye-catching. "You are?" "Tonari Otsutsuki." After answering, Tonari looked expectantly to the side. "Father, has Sir Aizen arrived?" Kirito smiled kindly. "Not yet, but he should be here soon." Hearing their conversation, Raiga looked at them suspiciously. Their father and son. Was he just flattering him? Raiga thought subconsciously. Then he saw a young girl with flame-like red hair behind Tonari. He sighed. "Sigh, I really want to see Sir Aizen as soon as possible." Red hair. The three of them were moved. They instinctively thought of Nagato, who also had red hair. Kirito smiled. "Karen, Tonari, let's go in and wait." They opened the door and saw a long table in the middle of the room. The old man with the gas mask and the green-eyed man with the face mask were both sitting upright on the chairs in front of the long table. Raiga greeted them enthusiastically. "Kakuzu bro, you're early. Time is money." Kakuzu said coldly. "Huh, you're still the same." Raiga sat down beside him, but as soon as he sat down, he couldn't stand it anymore. He covered his nose and asked, "Bro, how many days have you not taken a bath?" Kakuzu said unhappily. "I took a bath before I came." Raiga froze. "Then your clothes," Kakuzu replied. "Oh, it's the same clothes from 8 years ago." Raiga's mouth twitched wildly. "You're too thrifty. You're obviously the richest among us." Kakuzu's face became gloomy when he mentioned money. Most of the ninja world is under the surveillance of the Skynet. The underground exchange has been closed for a long time. And now there's electronic trading. I'm an unregistered resident. There's no way I can collect money. Raiga opened his mouth. For someone like Kakuzu who valued money as much as his life, not being able to make money was worse than death. No wonder he couldn't increase his income and had to cut back. While everyone was mourning for Kakuzu, a tall figure suddenly appeared at the head of the table. "It seems that everyone is here." Chapter 582. Hearing this, everyone hurriedly stood up from their seats. Aizen-sama. Sama. Aizen smiled. "Sit down. Today, I've invited everyone here to discuss something." Everyone's expression was serious as they listened attentively. Aizen continued, "The Ninja Alliance will soon hold the first ninja tournament. The first ninja tournament." Raiga was surprised. "I've never heard of such a thing." "Did Aizen-sama place a spy in the alliance?" "You've never heard of it?" Aizen smiled. "Because this proposal hasn't been made yet. It was I who influenced the people under Raikage to make this proposal." They weren't surprised that Aizen-sama could do this, but they were worried. What if this proposal doesn't pass? Wouldn't today's meeting be in vain? Aizen shook his head slightly. "This isn't something you need to worry about. What you need to think about now is how to make the organization famous in the tournament. It would be best if you can win the title of the first ninja in the world." Raiga asked nervously, "Won't we be too arrogant if we participate in the tournament?" But before he could finish, Tonari shouted enthusiastically, "Yes, I will win the tournament." "Very good, that's what I want." Aizen nodded and looked at Raiga. "Don't worry about being punished afterwards. Since I've decided to go from behind the scenes to the front, I won't let the alliance be arrogant." With Aizen's words, Raiga was relieved. We will definitely get a good ranking." However, Aizen shook his head. "To be honest, besides Tonari, I don't think you can go far in the tournament." Raiga and the others were surprised. Even Aizen-sama said this. "How strong is this boy?" Tonari said, "Aizen-sama, I alone am enough." They weren't angry, they knew he wasn't arrogant. After all, he even defeated his father. Aizen tapped his fingers on the table. "If you are strong, others will only respect you. They won't respect the organization. Only when everyone is strong will the name of the organization be deeply rooted in people's hearts." Li Ren suddenly understood. "I was too shallow." Raiga and the others were surprised. Sir Aizen said that he wanted to spread his name, and then he said that he wanted to reach the hearts of the people. It seemed like he really cared about this. But Lord Aizen wasn't the kind of person who cared about fame and reputation. Aizen smiled and took out 10 Shinigami masks. After the chaos in the underworld, he only had 10 of the 26 Shinigami masks left. After returning, he refined them again and added the power of the Hogyoku and the truth-seeking orb. After changing the core of the Jubi, he was now the Jubi's Jinchuriki. Of course, these masks aren't for you to hide your identities. Hearing Aizen's words, everyone laughed. Just like Ghost Mermaid's shark skin, and Scorpion's human puppet, such obvious features surely couldn't be covered by a mask. Their first function is to act as an organization's signature. Once they appear in the arena, the others will immediately realize that you are from the same organization. The several people who were once members of Akatsuki organization quickly understood that this was equivalent to the team uniform issued by Akatsuki organization, which was a symbol of their noble status. As for the second function, it's to enhance your strength. Raiga, try it on. Yes. Raiga stepped forward and picked up the mask. It seemed to be made of metal, but it felt smooth and delicate to the touch. Raiga didn't have much time to think as he put it on. The next moment, a powerful chakra entered his body. It was so comfortable that he almost moaned. So strong, I feel like I can beat 10 of my old self. Kakuzu's eyes lit up. He didn't need to be urged to put on the mask. It's indeed strong, but it shouldn't be as exaggerated as 10 of my old self, at most 5. The others stepped forward and put on their masks. I feel like I'm as strong as 3 of my old self. Why do I feel like there are only 2? When it was Tonari's turn to put on his mask, 1.1 or 2, I don't feel much. Raiga was overjoyed. Could it be that I've chosen the most powerful mask? Aizen smiled, the masks are all the same. The weaker the person, the greater the enhancement. Raiga's smile froze on his face. He comforted himself, it's okay, this means I still have a lot of room for improvement. The others subconsciously cast their gazes towards Tingren. With such a small increase in strength, it meant that his strength alone might be stronger than all of them combined. Ghost Mermaid looked at the 3 masks in front of Aizen and asked curiously, are these masks for the people who join later? Aizen smiled, they already have a master, but it's not convenient to announce it yet. Tonari and Karen's eyes lit up. They understood that Aizen had left these masks for his former friends. Ghost Shark and the others were shocked. It seemed that this wasn't all of Aizen's forces yet. Karen asked expectantly, Aizen, Sama, do we have a famous name when we go out? Aizen smiled, let's call it 10 blades. 10 blades, 10 weapons? Karen was excited, I want to be the sharpest weapon in Aizen, Sama's hands besides Tonari. That won't do. I want the name, Second Blade, too. Ghost Shark laughed. Karen said angrily like a child, I said it first. This isn't a matter of first come first serve. Ghost Shark said firmly, perhaps you admire Aizen, Sama, but I have to repay his kindness. Karen pouted, I thought it was something else. Uncle Shark, do you think there's anyone here who hasn't received Aizen, Sama's kindness? Kakuzu and Raiga nodded. They remembered how Aizen, Sama used the Stone of Grayer to save them. Sasori remembered how Aizen, Sama helped him reunite with his family. Seeing the others' reactions, Ghost Merman shook his head and smiled, I'm too shallow. Aizen knocked on the table, that's all for today. Use this time to familiarize yourself with the mask's abilities. Yes. After everyone left, Aizen took out half of the Hogyoku. With this, I can finally go further in the god system. Next, I'll use this tournament to spread my name. By the way, I'll let the Alliance know that without a real body, the Alliance is very dangerous. P.S. I originally wrote about Hanzo in the last chapter, but I've changed it. Chapter 583. After putting away the Hogyoku, Aizen used the Flying Thunder God to fly to the floating fortress of the Sky Kingdom. Since he didn't hide his presence, Zero-Tailed, who was controlling the fortress, sensed his arrival and quickly flew out with a flattering smile. Aizen-sama's arrival is my greatest honor. Your arrival has made the cold moon lively. Aizen laughed. You are a demon. Where did you learn to flatter me? Zero-Tailed's expression changed. Aizen, you can suppress me, but you can't insult my dignity. Even if you kill me, it won't change the fact that you are handsome and wise. Zero-Tailed said with righteous indignation. Who knows how his mask-like face could make such a lively expression? Aizen couldn't help but laugh. Well, it's my fault. Zero-Tailed's tense expression loosened. Yes, I said I'm the most honest. Zero-Tailed said honest while leading Aizen to the laboratory. In the laboratory, a middle-aged man dressed as a doctor was observing a petri dish attentively. Aizen pushed the door open and greeted him. Doctor, this was the new appearance of Hiriko's soul that appeared in this world after changing his appearance. Dr. A put his hands in his pockets and calmly responded. Aizen-sama. Aizen wasn't angry. He smiled and asked. Dr. A, how is the pacifier project going? Speaking of research, Dr. A's cold face flushed red. With the information you provided, we're only one step away from completing the research. Very good. But it would be best if you can produce the finished product within a week. Aizen nodded. From the beginning, he planned to have Orochi Maru research artificial Kekii Genkai, Hiriko research fusion Kekii Genkai, and Sasori research Kekii Genkai. However, he had been in the parallel universe for 8 years. Without him as a communication hub, it was difficult for the three to connect their research. It was only a few days after his return that he allowed the three of them to summarize the results of their research. A week? Dr. A frowned. I will try my best. Aizen pondered for a moment. If you can't, a semi-finished product will do. The key is to scare people. Bluff? Dr. A muttered. He did not insist on not making defective products. Instead, he nodded slowly. If that's the case, that's not a problem. How many semi-finished products do you need, sir? Let's test the waters with 1,000 sets first. How much? 1,000? Dr. A quickly did some calculations in his mind. 1,000 pacifists in 7 days meant 143 units a day. Even if he worked 24 hours a day, he would have to complete 6 units in an hour. Before he could refuse, Aizen patted his shoulder and said, I believe you can do it. I'll ask Sasori to help you. With someone working overtime with him, Dr. A felt much better. He subconsciously looked at Zero Tail. Zero Tail was so scared that its tail stood up. No, I'm just an honest and cute little snake. 5 days later, in the central tower of the Alliance. After Garashi displayed part of the memories of the parallel world in the form of a broadcast in the dream world, the conference room fell silent. After a long while, the conference room gradually filled with the sounds of discussion. Hagoromo Sennin, Otsutsuki Kagaya, Otsutsuki Ichiki. They seemed to be more powerful than the one from 3 years ago. Fortunately, in the war 8 years ago, Madara was suppressed by the leader. Otherwise, we would have to face such a terrible enemy at that time. Although we avoided the misfortune of releasing Otsutsuki Kagaya, a greater disaster is waiting for us. A greater disaster? You mean Aizen? It's him. He played with the world in the palm of his hand. Even that kind of god was enslaved by him. I can't imagine how terrible his true strength is. No, even if he's dangerous, he's still a person of our world. The real enemy is the Otsutsuki. Yes, he's the only one besides the leader who can resist the Otsutsuki. We should try to win him over as much as possible. Damn it, we're too weak. When the enemy comes, do we have to watch the leader fight alone like last time? Garashi coughed twice, and the quarreling crowd instantly quieted down. I told you the experience of the parallel world to raise your vigilance and awareness, but there's no need to panic. The leader is right. A slammed the table and said, the alliance has been too peaceful these years. The people below have lost their motivation, and the people above are not as calm as before. How can they panic when they hear a little thing? Many people's faces were not very good. Obviously, Reikage's words also included them. Inoki looked over and asked, Reikage-sama, do you have any good suggestions? Fight. A said firmly, only by fighting can we get back the lost part of ourselves. Fight? Raza narrowed his eyes, how do you want to fight? Hold the first ninja conference, call on all people to participate, and use the most exciting battle to awaken the passion in everyone's heart. The first ninja conference, then the name is naturally. Empress Shomiai suddenly said, I understand, the leader is a man of heaven, right? Reikage was speechless. Why didn't the Mizukage follow the rules? he had to say with a sour face. Yes. The first ninja conference in the world? Garashi nodded pretentiously, using a conference to revive the alliance that has been silent for a long time sounds good. What do you think? Everyone didn't have much resistance, and seeing that Garashi agreed, they naturally didn't object. I have no opinion. I think it's okay. Seeing that no one objected, Garashi said, then let's start the organization. At the same time, in the quiet outer space, two figures, one big and one small, were suspended between the meteorites, overlooking the earth below like gods. Is it here? The place where the chakra wave came from 3 years ago. The short man asked arrogantly. It's here, Momoshi-sama. The big man said respectfully. This is the jurisdiction of Ichiki-senpai. Although he hasn't sent any news back to the clan for nearly 1,000 years, it should be more than 10 years before he is officially defined as missing. I don't want to be too arrogant in his territory. Having said that, his expression didn't change at all. Jean, sure, let's go and play on this planet before getting down to business. Yes, Momoshi-sama. Chapter 584. 2 days later, the news of the world's first ninja tournament had spread throughout the ninja world, instantly igniting the enthusiasm of everyone in the alliance. In this world, fame and fortune are 2 words. There are too few people who can resist the temptation of being the first in the world. Thanks to the convenient transportation of trams, even if they were far away, they could still come back in time. For a while, the entire Woodleaf town was full of people coming and going, and the traffic was directly paralyzed. Walking in the crowded crowd, Naruto's little face flushed with excitement. Sasuke, Niji, let's sign up too. Sasuke glanced at him. Where do you think we're going now? Isn't it just the registration point? Is that so? Naruto laughed awkwardly. There are too many people, I can't see it. Niji's eyes were like fire. I don't want to be the first in the world, but I must enter the top 16. Sasuke looked back and forth suspiciously. Why are you putting your hands on your waist? Are you trying to cover up a certain action? Niji's current action was a bit similar to that of Sasuke 3 years ago, which made him feel offended. Naruto rubbed his chin. Speaking of which, I haven't seen Niji this week. Niji was angry. What are you 2 bastards thinking? Sensei said that the Hyuga clan's taijutsu is inherited from the Otsutsuki clan's taijutsu. He also told me to break down the target so that I can reach that field. I was too eager to succeed and accidentally twisted my waist, so I'm resting at home. Really? Naruto and Sasuke asked in unison. I don't believe it, written on their faces. Niji said earnestly. I know what you 2 perverts are thinking, but it's not what you think. I'm a ninja who specializes in taijutsu. How could I twist my waist because of that kind of thing? Hearing Niji's words, Naruto and Sasuke nodded thoughtfully. It seemed to be the case. In terms of physical strength, how could Tien compare with a strong taijutsu like Niji? They must be thinking too much. Thinking of this, both of them were a little ashamed. Their thoughts were too impure. At this moment, Naruto's phone rang. Huh? Is it Taishin? Looking at the caller ID, Naruto answered the phone without thinking much. Oh, Ning-ji didn't bring his phone out. Yes, he's with us. Huh? Tell Ning-ji to buy some tiger penis and bull penis back. No problem, I will definitely inform them. After hanging up the phone, the 3 of them fell into a strange silence. Women are so troublesome. Ning-ji laughed awkwardly and waved his hand. By the way, where were we? You're going to sign up, right? Then let's hurry over. I still have to go back to wash clothes and cook later. Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. Is marriage so scary? When the 3 of them arrived at the registration point, there was already a long, winding queue. The 3 of them sighed dejectedly. Just as they were about to line up, they realized that the person in front of them had turned into smoke and exploded after registering. Naruto clapped his hands. You can use a clone to line up. Sasuke nodded. That's much easier. However, the two of them felt their clothes being pulled. They turned their heads and saw Ning-ji looking at them with pleading eyes. Using a clone will inevitably lead to accidents, and it will seem that we're not sincere enough. Let's line up with our real bodies. What did we do to our child? The two of them sighed and patted him on the shoulder. Okay, let's use our real bodies. Ning-ji couldn't help but burst into tears. Good brother. The three of them lined up at the end of the line, moving forward with the line while discussing the hot topics of the conference. Naruto said, there's no need to mention the 5 Kages. Just our Woodleaf clan alone has Uchiha, Hyuga, Sarutobi, Inoshikacho, and many other big clans. There are too many strong people. Sasuke proudly said, of the top 32, Uchiha will reserve 4 seats. Ning-ji asked, I wonder if there will be people outside the alliance participating? Although the alliance has spread across most of the ninja world, I heard that there were still some stubborn people who didn't want to merge with the major ninja villages. As time passed, the three of them reached the front of the line. At this time, there was a noise in front of them. The three of them looked out and saw a man with a scythe behind him making trouble. Hey, let me cut the line, I'm a jonin. Idiot, 9 out of 10 people who dare to sign up here are jonins. Damn, even jonins are so common now. The young man with the scythe cursed a few times and asked, then let's discuss, stab me and change positions? The jonin who was hit on was shocked. Are you crazy? Looking at the farce in front of him, Naruto asked curiously, that's the repeater senpai, right? Did he graduate? He should have graduated, right? Ning-ji wasn't sure. How can he be a jonin if he didn't graduate? That's not necessarily true. Sasuke squinted. Maybe he was cheated by someone who sold fake certificates? People who fight will be disqualified, so the man didn't dare to make a move. Finally, he was annoyed by Haiden. Okay, come in front of me. However, before he finished speaking, he was pulled by the person behind him. It's your business if you want to give up your position to him. After you change your position, go out and line up again. The jonin who said he wanted to give up his position had a bad look on his face. Looking back, he saw a boy with pale skin behind him. Kid, do you know what you're talking about? I'm talking about rules. Before he could refute, the jonin was wrapped by an invisible force and directly sent to the end of the line. Fighting will get you expelled, but this process naturally can't be called a fight. Everyone who was waiting to watch a good show was shocked. Although that person wasn't a very powerful character, he was still a jonin. Yet, he was caught without any resistance. They didn't even understand how the other party did it. For a while, everyone looked at him with eyes full of fear. However, the fair-skinned boy didn't care about other people's eyes at all. He just smiled and looked at the registration staff. Can I sign up? The staff hurriedly nodded. Of course. What's your name? Tonari Otsutsuki. After that, Tonari suddenly looked up at the sky until the staff called him, then lowered his head and continued to sign up. In the space mezzanine, 2 people appeared. With this kind of vigilance, as a freshman, Otsutsuki is not bad. Momoshiki's expression was playful, and his eyes were full of greed as he looked at Tonari. Jinshi's expression was serious. The birth of every Otsutsuki consumes a lot of chakra. The chakra on this planet is too active. After all, this is fertile land that hasn't been harvested for 1,000 years. It's inevitable that it's a little plentiful. These walking chakra seem to be waving at me, making my heart itch. Momoshiki licked the corner of his mouth, especially that newborn kid. There shouldn't be his name in the clan, right? Of course not, Jinshi said. Although it's forbidden in the clan to devour each other, nameless barbarians are not included. Momoshiki laughed. It's really lucky that such a wild Otsutsuki can be found by me. Jinshi asked carefully, Momoshiki-sama, what do you want? Momoshiki looked at the outside world contemptuously. Didn't that kid want to show off in front of these inferior creatures? Then let's join in and let him have a taste of the dimensional reduction attack. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.